Unsighted. Explore your way awake into a world ruined by war. Alma must traverse the vast city of Arcadia before the life force of her friends and hers wither away. Time is ticking, and every moment matters. Who will you save? Who will you leave to turn unsighted? Action adventure games are a strange genre because you can put a lot of games into that genre. Now, even though today's game isn't truthfully an action adventure game, in my opinion, it has the tags. The tags, of course, being action and adventure. Not really a combo of both. But so many things are called action adventure without them being what I believe to be the genre. But it has action, and there is an adventure. So it is action adventure. So this will include my opinion. Because at the end of the day, I talk about what I think. And you may not agree with my thoughts. That's totally fine, since we don't, and will hopefully never, live in a society where everyone is of the same mind. But I believe action adventure games should have a good amount of the world to explore, while also having a fun combat system. But that isn't always the case. I just want you to be able to explore as much as you can and have fun doing it. Sadly, I can't say that Unsighted has that, but that isn't because it wasn't fun. The main reason I say it doesn't fit is because of the in-game mechanic that kind of fights against exploring. So Unsighted is a very different game than one I have played, and I don't mean gameplay. I'm solely talking about the unique in-game mechanic that I didn't think I would like. So we'll talk about the game mechanic before I talk about the game. So everything has a deadline, which is kind of like real life. But in this world, you know when people are going to expire. Now, expiration date isn't the right word for it, since you don't really have weeks to save people, but days. Once you meet someone, you are able to add them into your contacts, so that you can see how much time they have left. Also, most of the contacts are in very easy to find places, so you never have to care about finding them before they expire. That doesn't mean that everyone is in places you can find easily, since there are some characters that move around. I actually lost one of the characters that move around a lot because I forgot where he was. But the basis of this game is that characters in this game are basically androids that have been given sentience by this gem. I am paraphrasing at this point to not really give big spoilers, but they are taken away from the source by humans that feel they are immoral, and this action has adverse effects. These adverse effects were, of course, the removal of their sentience and personality. Now, this didn't happen immediately, but with time, they would become beings called Unsighted. Now, what happens if you remove someone's personality and the ability to make rational thoughts? Well, in this game, you attack all those that can make rational thoughts because you can sense who is unsighted and who isn't. Now, the first question we should ask is there a cure? The answer is no, but there is a way to delay the inevitable. In the game, you can find what is essentially black dust. With it, you can add 24 hours to your or someone else's lifespan. You can also use it in another way. That is more selfish, but I didn't do it, so I won't talk about it. But this is the first time I played a game with a mechanic like this. That is why it's hard to call this game an action adventure. Now that I explained the in-game mechanic, I can explain why I don't believe this game fights for you to explore. So because of this mechanic, you basically have to speedrun or find little black dust in order to keep everyone alive. I first run this game, and yes I say first run, because I have two save files of this game. The first one I just focus on making my weapon strong and exploring like I usually do, but a lot of people went Unsighted because of it. Because of this, I started another save file, beat the first two bosses without dying, and without upgrading my weapon once. But that was because I went into the second save file with a vengeance. So, in the beginning of the game, you have to fight those black mask creatures, which is truthfully not supposed to be beaten. Once you start getting used to one, another one shows up and makes the fight seem impossible. So I fought these unbeatable creatures 3 times, and was able to defeat them. This isn't a type of game where you can just load up a save and redo everything. Once you lose, you have to quit out the game so that the fight doesn't happen. Again, this isn't a thing for all fights, but this fight, since it isn't made to be won. But you get a nice weapon once you beat them, and I was able to use the weapon until I got to our in-game weapon. So when it comes to gameplay, I can't really say that it is anything special. You have hack and slash mechanics. The best way to work around combat is to parry. This game does the usual perfect parry an enemy enough, and you can cause them to stagger and be able to do big damage. There are some enemies that don't adhere to this rule, but they're easily dispatched. For those enemies, you just have to dodge out of their attack and then attack them afterwards. Simple in theory, but not as simple when you are trying to parry one enemy while dodging out of an AoE attack, AoE being area of effect. In this game, it will throw enemies with different attack mechanics at you to make the game more challenging. My first playthrough I died a ton, which is expected because I was trying things out. One, to learn the mechanics of the boss. Experimenting is something I do a lot in games, because I want to learn fights and not really stress. But because this game counts down your time while you fight, you're expected to defeat all bosses in your first attempt. But the best way to attempt combat in the beginning to midway point of the game is to parry until you get certain chips and gears. So I approached my second attempt of the game vastly different compared to my first attempt, and that was with the inclusion of chips. So in this game, you have two ways to approach power level in combat. The first is by upgrading your weapons that you find or craft. That way allows you to get more power out of your weapons, but it gets costly the more you level it. The second way is by adding more chip slots so that you can slot in more chips. So chips can change up your gameplay by giving you more leech life every third kill or by giving you more defense. My favorite chip I got late in the game allowed me to get more charge in my syringe so I can heal more. Just like the weapons, it costs a lot more to upgrade more chip slots. And chips come in different sizes and shapes. That just means you have to play Tetris, so you can fit all the chips you want for your character. I want to briefly talk about healing, since I briefly talked about it in the beginning. So in this game, you have to use syringes in order to heal yourself. You only get one charge. With that use of the black dust, you can get another permanent syringe, which I didn't do. There are two ways to refill your syringe, which the first is to fight, and it will refill as you go. The second way is to go to your waypoint and refresh, and you will get your health back and your charges. You can also get a blueprint to create temporary syringes that go away once you use them. The good thing about them is that they stay even when you die and don't disappear until you use them. The reason I emphasize this point is there are so many games that will make you use this resource once you die, which sucks. You have to use up materials in order to make them. So it'd be a waste if you couldn't even use the thing you made. So gears kind of work in the same way the chips do, but have a more temporary effect. Gears can increase your attack, defense, or even revive you if you get too low. The only bad thing about the gears is the fact that you are only allowed 4 at a time. Once you acquired more, you had 2 options. Leave the gears where you found them, or dismantle them for the currency. Because of these two things, I was able to make a more well-rounded character instead of investing on the strength of a weapon. The story itself follows our character, Oma, as she goes through the world in an attempt to recover a lost memory, also find her true love. We are able to connect to a lot of the people we knew before we went into deep sleep to recover. The thing is that a lot of the people are happy to see us, but they are dealing with a lot. They're dealing with morality, know their time is coming. Their best hope to living is on us. I would say we get to know all about these characters in the world, but we don't have the time to. We are on a time limit, and every choice we make accelerates that time. So we have to make the best choices. The interesting thing is that the game has a weird way of rewarding you for giving characters black dust. If you give it to them 4 times, you will get a personal item from them that can help you in your journey. But the main story is shown as you collect the shards needed to solve the biggest problem in the game. The biggest problem being our timer running out. But it is shown well, but sadly not enough time is given to truly appreciate the world and the characters. Again, you can play on the story mode difficulty to not have to stress and appreciate the world. But I didn't. I played on the recommended difficulty, and I did appreciate the pacing at times, but it was overwhelming when you had people running out of time. So once a companion reaches 24 hours left, you'll get a notification about it. You're expected to either finish the game or give them black dust before they turn unsighted. My second playthrough went better because I had knowledge on the bosses, also the fight mechanics. I also wasn't wasting currency on weapons, since pairing was the best thing to do for fights. I have to say this is the only game I would say has replayability, but because of the different difficulties. Main reason is because I would want you to play this game stress-free, to get to know all the characters, and taking the story easier. I was kind of stressed because I wanted everyone to live, and thought it was possible. For the most part, you are definitely able to do so if you don't try to greed and max out anyone's personality stat. If you just save the black dust for anyone that was low, then everyone would be fine till the end. But that wasn't the case for me. Again, the only reason I lost one is because I had no idea where they were. Now it does tell you where your companions were last seen on the contact list, but this person could show up anywhere. I also believe there are multiple endings, but I got the best ending for me. I'm not going to explain that since that would be spoilers. The difficulty of this game could be related to 2 things. If you're good at parrying, then this game would be fairly easy for you. Also, knowing your way through this map will make this game go a lot faster. I would say that this game is replayable, but I don't really plan to play it again, since I was able to get the ending I wanted with as little as 6 deaths. When I say 6 deaths, I mean my character's deaths, not like the other characters' deaths. Overall, I like this game a lot, which you should tell by the fact that I made a video for this game. The combat, while not being innovative, wasn't boring. While you could have different weapons, you only really had 2 weapon types, which was swords or axes. Swords being faster and axes being slow, but powerful. Also, even though I kept saying the game doesn't reward you for exploring, it kinda does. So if you talk to different people, there is a possibility you will get a quest from them. And one particular quest, you have to find dogs that went missing. Now, once you find one of the dogs, you get to actually use the dogs in combat. Now, I used them, but I kind of grew annoyed with them because they are needy. Also, you can only use one dog at a time, and can also name them. But the dogs require you to feed them. If that was just it, I wouldn't be bothered. So dogs would get tired after a while of traveling and would require a 3-hour nap. They want to take a 3-hour nap in a game where every few seconds matter. But I still used them just for the little bit of damage they provided. But even though I was basically doing a speedrun of the game, I still had fun. Even with the time crunch, I still did everything possible in the end. I was able to beat the game without losing another person. Also, I beat the game within 6 hours, which should tell you that the game isn't necessarily long. Truthfully, you should have realized that by this review. I already stated that I did the ending already that I wanted, so I don't plan to play it again, but I definitely see people playing this game a few times. This game is a part of my backlog series, and I'm happy that I was able to play this. Okay, so key points is that the game was fun. Game mechanics were very innovative, but combat was basic. I don't really know how to say what would make this game better for me. Probably giving the people more time, so you didn't feel like you needed to make a perfect speedrun in order to complete this game. I would also stop time progression when you are fighting bosses, so you could learn the fight without the unneeded pressure. I feel like people would also want time to stop when you're going through new zones. I feel like that would kill the in-game mechanic if there was no pressure as you were exploring. You have to spend your time wisely. Otherwise, you would realize that everything around you was gone because you were procrastinating. I feel like this game kind of pulls on the fact that our character is very late to the fight. The war is over, and time has passed when we would actually be helpful for anyone. We are still helpful, depending on how we beat the game, but many people have gone inside it before we came back. There is just a lot to think about when it comes to this game, even after completing it. I'm kind of wondering if you could do a pacifist run in this game, but I kind of doubt it. Also, forgot to say that this game has a lot of platforming aspects, but I wouldn't call it a platformer. But have you heard of this game? And will you check it out after all this? I enjoy this game, and if there is another game that makes me happy for my backlog series, then I'll make a video of it. I hope you all have a great day and an amazing week. My name is Oni the Incubus, and that has been my time. Later days. Alright, love you all. Send you hugs and kisses. I'm not sending you asses hugs. I'm sending you kisses consensually. Love you all. Mwah. Alright, I'll see you all later. Love you all. Bye. Bye. Love you all. Love you all. Bye. Bye. Love you all. Peace.